Welcome to the online video series presented by Structure Studios. This video will explain the Custom Shapes feature. Custom shapes are unique in that they can be rotated in any direction while in 3D, and they do not interact with other shapes. We'll review a number of examples of how we can complete our project using custom shapes. First, we'll create an outdoor kitchen. Using our line tool, we'll first create the overall shape of the kitchen we plan to build. We'll draw 20 feet left, 12 feet down, 3 feet right, 9 feet up, 17 feet right, and finally 3 feet up, or double-click on the last point with the Auto-Complete target present to complete the shape. We'll make sure our shape is set to Custom Shape instead of Pergola. Shapes drawn in this stage can be switched between Custom Shape and Pergola at any time in 2D. When we go to 3D, we'll see a shape a few inches tall on top of our hardscape. This shape will act as the counter for the outdoor kitchen. While in 3D, we can adjust its height and elevation. We'll set the height to 3 inches. It's helpful to think of the height of the custom shapes as thickness as well. Under Object Settings, we'll turn off Auto Elevation. We see there's already an elevation in the boxes, as the hardscape is raised. Our kitchen top should be raised 3 feet above the hardscape, so we'll increase the setting by 3 feet. We'll return to 2D to create the base of the kitchen. We'll use the Outline tool and offset 3 inches inside of our countertop. We'll trace around the entire shape until it's complete. When done, we'll return to 3D. In 3D, we can see the structure matches the settings of our original custom shape. First, we'll lower the elevation 3 feet to place it back on top of the hardscape. Next, we'll adjust the height. We want this to be just below the countertop, so we'll make the height 3 feet. Our kitchen looks good, but we want a bar area where we can add some bar stools. We'll return to 2D for this. First, we'll adjust our existing base to leave room for another shape. With the Move tool, we'll left-click and drag the midpoint on the right side of the shape. We'll drag it left until the top measurement is 10 feet. Now we can draw a new shape for the bar area. Starting from the top right, we'll draw right 9 feet 6 inches with the Line tool. Then down 2 feet 6 inches. And then left 1 foot 6 inches. We need to leave room for our bar stools and our client's legs, so we'll create a recessed space. We'll draw up 1 foot 6, then left 8 feet, and then complete our shape. When we go to 3D, we see our shape will use the settings of the last shape we selected, so it will match our other base. While in 3D, we can select and adjust the shapes as needed, moving and adjusting as needed, such as lining the base up with the edge of the hardscape. Later in the materials stage, we can apply different finishes to each surface, and in our yard accessories we can add details such as grills, sinks, doors, and more. Make sure to watch the materials and yard accessories videos for more information. Earlier in the house stage, we created a covered area by drawing a new shape and selecting the Roof Only button. We want to add some details such as beams to this roof, so we can use custom shapes to complete this. We'll create our beams in 2D. Using the Line tool, we'll follow the edge of our house shape, but since we want our beam to extend past our roof, we'll continue drawing past the edge. We'll then draw 1 foot to the right, then back down to match our original line and complete our shape. When we return to 3D, we see a shape that matches the settings of the last kitchen base we created. We'll adjust this shape's height to 9 inches and use the Move tool to raise it to cover the edge of our roof. We can use the Move tool to adjust the beam until it's in the perfect spot. We can access the materials stage at any time to update the finish on our beam, and the next shape we create will remember this setting. We want to add the same beam to the other side of the roof. We can copy and paste the beam in 3D and place it in position using keyboard shortcut Ctrl-C to copy and Ctrl-V to paste, or using the copy and paste buttons in the top menu bar. We can use both 2D and 3D to ensure it's in the proper place, lining up with the house and covering the overhang of the roof. We'll paste one more beam and place it in the middle of the roof. We'll raise it in 3D until it's positioned between the two hips of the roof. We can adjust this later as well, once we add our angled beams. Back in 2D, we want to create our angled beams. We'll draw a rectangle, 10 feet by 9 inches, and complete our shape. We'll make sure the height is set to 9 inches as well. In 3D, we'll make sure our beam is under the roof. Custom shapes can be rotated in any direction in 3D. When we switch to our Rotate tool, we'll see the blue, red, and green arrows update to show the different directions we can rotate. We'll left-click and rotate along the appropriate axis and see the shape change right away. We currently have our angle snap set to world angle, which makes our shape snap to 45-degree angles. We need greater freedom of movement, so we'll turn the angle snap to none under snaps and constraints. Now as we rotate, we have total freedom of movement. We'll continue to rotate and switch to the Move tool to put our beam in place. Under the front edge of the roof, using a combination of these tools, we'll put the beam in place. However, we notice that our beam isn't quite big enough to cover the entire edge of the roof. We can quickly update this back in 2D. When we return to 2D, we see our shape has no points we can adjust. That's no problem. Under the Height box, we'll see the button for Edit Object. Once we click on this, our shape can now be edited. Even though it's been rotated back in 2D, it retains the 3D position. We'll grab the midpoint and stretch our beam to be 12 feet instead of 10. Once complete, we'll click back on Edit Object. In 3D, we can see our shape has been extended, but it's retained its rotation angle. We may need to adjust the position with Move now that it's been changed. Feel free to pause the video at any time to place the beam in position. Next, we need to add the beam to the other end of the roof. We'll select our beam, copy it, and paste it while in 3D. Next, we'll turn the world angle snap back on so we can more easily place the beam into position. With Rotate, we'll turn our beam around to mirror the original. Now, with the Move tool, we'll set it in place. Pause the video at any time to place your beam into position. We need to add 2 more sets of beams to our roof. We'll select the first beam, then press and hold Control on the keyboard, then left-click to select the second. With both selected, we'll copy the beams, then paste them. Now we can use the Move tool to place them in the center of the roof. Pause the video at any time to finish placing the beams. We'll add one final pair. We'll paste again and place these beams close to the house. Once again, pause the video at any time to finish placing the beams. The final step to complete our roof is adding support columns. Before we do, we need to know how tall to make them. We could draw a simple shape and adjust the height in 3D until it reaches our roof, or we can measure in 3D. With the measure guide selected in 3D, we'll click on the corner of one of our beams and measure down to the ground. We see the value is 16 feet, so now we can draw our column. We'd like our column to be sloped along the edges. First, in 2D, we'll use the Line tool to create a 16 feet by 1 foot rectangle. Next, we'll adjust the shape to give it the angled look we're after. We'll set our grid value to 3 inches and then use the Move tool to adjust our points. We want the bottom of the column to be 2 feet 6 inches, so we'll drag our first point 9 inches and then the other as well. In 3D, we'll make sure the column is selected and choose the Rotate tool. We'll rotate our column to stand upright, with the wider section towards the ground. Now with the Move tool, we'll put the column in place under our roof and beams. We'll adjust the elevation and position by using Move on the various arrows. Pause the video at any time to finish placing the column. We need a second column, so we'll copy, paste, and position the column. Once again, pause the video at any time to finish placing the column. Later in materials, we can give our columns a new finish. This completes instruction on the Custom Shapes feature. For more information, please visit support.structurestudios.com, email support@structurestudios.com, or call 800-778-8996.